how's it going? Mike here, The Fresh Rinse, on a cold and windy Monday where I must wash. Washing goes on regardless. Someone had asked that I do a video on the importance of having an unloader tree as opposed to keeping your unloader in the factory position on the pump, and I want to do that for you. This is perfect timing because recently, on an opportunity where I was doing some flat work recently, my pressure gauge went bad and now I have to replace it this morning. So we're going to do that as well. Before we continue, be sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell tab, and leave a comment. All of that helps the channel and I'm super grateful. So the question is, why do we have an unloader tree? Well, I actually have two unloader trees right here on either side of my ladder rack. An unloader tree is nothing more than a way of getting the unloader off of the pump and putting it somewhere else. Now there's three reasons why we might do this. One would be for durability, the second would be for accessibility, and the third would be for visibility. I'll explain all three of those. So when you get your machine from the factory, it is going to have an unloader just like this or something similar, and it's going to be mounted right here to the pump. This allows you to raise and lower the pressure that's coming from the pump. Now, every time that we release pressure from the line, meaning every time we release the trigger, it causes pressure to back up to the unloader. And that's what causes water to be bypassed from the pump right here back into the tank. And that is by design. That way you can leave the machine running as long as you want to without releasing water, and the pump will not overheat. But what happens is the unloader bangs. You'll hear that when you let go of the trigger. Pow, it pops, and again by design. And over time, it's possible that this could crack the head on your pump. Now, something you may not know is that you can actually have the unloader on either side of the pump, and many people choose to dual feed the pump, getting more water to the pump. You can do that as well. So depending upon how you have your machine stationed on your rig, you may not have the greatest accessibility to the grenade, again, allowing you to raise and lower pressure. So removing it from the pump allows you to put it where you have the most accessibility. Also, in the event that you need to replace the unloader, if it's right here or if it's right here, it's likely that you'll have to remove the supply line, maybe take some things off. But if you have your unloader on an unloader tree, again, simply away from the pump, then it allows you more accessibility. You can remove and replace the unloader with much greater ease. As a bonus, I might add that it's always best to have quick connects at the end of all of your lines. This allows, again, for ease of removal and replacement. So that's durability and accessibility, and then there's visibility. Sometimes, again, depending upon how you have your machine stationed on your rig, you may not be able to see your pressure gauge. And so I have mine where it's very, very visible. And when I raise and lower pressure, I can do it right here with one hand, and I can see the pressure raising and lowering. As a pro tip, I might add, always squeeze the trigger when you raise and lower pressure, and then let off the trigger and you can see where your pressure gauge is. Now, I hope that helps. Again, durability, accessibility, and visibility. So recently I was on a fairly large flat work job with my 31-inch Mini Mondo, and it just was not performing. And I knew something was wrong. I came back to the rig, turned the rig completely off, and sure enough, my pressure gauge had faulted. And the reason I know this is because when there's no pressure on the gauge, it should read 0. As you can see, it does not. It's just below the 1,000 mark. So this needs to be replaced. Now, all I had to do was come over to my backup unloader and pop into here. Of course, pull my bypass line over to this port, and that was easy enough because I left plenty of slack in the design, and that was easy enough. So it went right back to work and all was well. So now it's time to replace this gauge on my primary unloader. Now, fortunately for me, I keep a backup, and there she is. Again, notice that it is at 0. So I'm going to do that now very simply. Comes with quick connects. I'll leave a link in the description where I buy these. I usually go through maybe one a year. Now you say, Mike, what about your new backup? Now that you're getting rid of this one, what are you going to do if it goes out? Well, funny you should ask. I immediately ordered 2 more gauges. That needs to be a practice of every pressure washer. The moment that something fouls up, go ahead and order at least 1. I ordered 2, so I'll replace the old one with this gauge. I'll put this gauge in the toolbox. My other backup will go in the shed, and the one that has faulted will simply go in the trash. So I appreciate the viewer requesting the video. If you have a question that you feel like could warrant an actual video, I'll be glad to do that as time allows. All right, I'm going to make that quick change with that gauge, and then I'm going to head out to opportunity 1 of 2 on the day. It's cold and it's windy, but here we are. Let's do this. All right, Mike, the Fresh Rinse, and I'm out.